Hey, I need your advice, like some feedback, if you could. I need to lose a few pounds. Oh, that's easy. Just eat less and exercise more. That's it. Just eat less and exercise more. Come on, just push yourself away from the table and start getting to the gym 4, 5, 6 hours a day. Do that. There you go. There's your feedback. Welcome, folks. Today we're talking about one of the half dozen correct ways to give feedback. Again, as we said, communication is not a one-size-fits-all approach. There are a few ways to efficiently and effectively, helpfully, develop a way of giving feedback. Today we're looking at one of those ways, and where this comes from, first of all, is something that's a pet peeve of mine when it comes to giving people feedback, but also when you poll a group or you survey a group or even you look at the data from Pew, McKinsey, Gallup, Deloitte, you'll see that people like their feedback directly. Don't pull punches. Now, don't be soul crushing, but you don't have to pull punches. At the same time, just be direct, give it to me, and it should help me immediately, meaning I should understand it and be able to do something with it. All the way, completely fix a problem? Maybe not. But at least get me headed or started in the right direction. Welcome to the channel. My name is Eric Herdman. I'm a professional speaker, and today we're talking about feedback. So let's dive in. One of my pet peeves is around that specific example I gave you in the intro of this video. A lot of people from the exercise science world that I have spent a lot of time in college and out of college working with athletes and that sort of thing, and training myself, of course. Many of you know I've been a triathlete and a sponsored endurance, nationally ranked endurance, ultra endurance athlete, ultra runner, is when somebody says, hey, can you give me some feedback? Can you give me some advice? I need to lose a few pounds. And someone that knows better will say something like, yeah, here's what you do. Just eat less and exercise more. This is the face that I make every single time I hear that. Now, is that a lie? Absolutely not. Is it the truth? Yes. Will it work? Absolutely. Is it sustainable? 100%. And does it work with all humans? Yes. If you eat less and you move or exercise more, you will create the environment to lose a few pounds. But here's the problem. We don't all think from the same frame of reference. As I've said, communication is not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's nuanced. There are considerations. And when you say to someone, hey, just eat less and exercise more, here's what some folks hear. Some folks hear eat less. You know what they think? Lettuce. Yes, lettuce. That's what I should eat. I should eat a bowl of lettuce and a few tablespoons of water on top of it 3 or 4 times a day. That's less, right? That's what you're talking about. That's what you mean by eat less. Some people think eating less is instead of having a whole bag of Cheetos, I'm only going to have half of the bag today. Is that less? Yes, but it's not quite what that person probably had in mind giving that advice. Now, when you think about the other side of that is that exercise more. Some people immediately think, a marathon a day, 26.2 miles in the morning, and then I should probably go back out and do another 5 or 10 in the afternoon. That's more, right? That's what you mean by more. I should do CrossFit 4 times a day. I shouldn't be able to walk, and if I do, I should be walking like a wounded duck. That's what you mean by more exercise. No. Some people hear more exercise and think, all right, more than what I'm doing right now, which is nothing. So more, I'm going to walk to the mailbox at the end of the driveway. That's 25 feet. That's 50 out and back. That's more, right? It is more. And you can see how, again, just even those two examples with eat less and exercise more, how it would work. It is the formula, but it's not the exact formula for that person. When I get asked that question, not that I have it all figured out, but when I get asked that question, I say, all right, can I ask you a few questions? I ask permission. Can I ask you a few questions? And they say yes. And I say, what are you currently doing for exercise? Oh, I do nothing. Do you take walks? Do you ride a bike? Do you play with your kids? Do you play with your dog? No, I don't do anything. I have a dog walker that comes and walks the dogs while I'm at work, so I can come home and sit on the couch. Okay, so you're doing nothing. What about your food? Do you have any idea how many times a day you eat? How much you eat at meals? What can you tell me about that? I eat 3 times a day, and I have some snacks. And you probably want to know that I do go by Starbucks every morning and get a mocha frappuccino with extra whipped cream and extra drizzle on it. All right, so here's what I think we should do. Would you be willing, again, an ask, would you be willing for 5 to 7 days to track what you're eating? Just writing it down, there's no judgment, just make sure you get close to the amount that you're eating if you could. Just even a ballpark will be helpful. I had 3 handfuls of something. I had, a quarter-sized dollop of this kind of dip, or, that sort of thing. If there are measurements available to you, like you go to a restaurant and you can take things off their menu, or you can go to a site and see what the macronutrients and calories are, that would be helpful. But for 5 days, just write down everything that you consume. Even a lick, a sip, a little bite, a little nibble, just write that down. That's all you have to do. And then, if you would, turn on the step counter in your phone and just put it in your pocket. And every time you get up from your desk, or every time you do go outside, maybe to get the mail, or just walk around your house, make sure you have your phone on so it tracks your steps. And let's talk in a week. And then they come back in a week and they're like, okay, so I wrote everything down and I have my step count for a week, and we can take a look at that. And from there, we can structure something that, again, what most people want is a very direct and specific to that person way to eat a little less and exercise a little more to meet folks where they are. Because where I am with this is way different than where you are. And what you can handle is going to be different than me. The bottom line, again, back to eat less and exercise more. Yes, we have to create a calorie deficit. But one of the most destructive things when this happens with this specific use case is someone will advise someone to cut their calories by 1,000 or 500 and increase their calories a day by 500 or 1,000 by walking 15, 20,000 steps. And again, people want a direct approach, but they also want something that in the form of feedback that's of value and utility. Now, again, is this first set of feedback, the first set of recommendations going to get them to where they want to be? No, but it's a start, and it'll start building some traction. And in this case, I want to give them something in the form of feedback, in the form of advice that they can sustain. And I think we now start to see, as we think about other situations where people ask us for advice or they need us to critique and give them some feedback, yes, they want it direct, but they want it to be something that they can easily understand and then go do something with. So when I meet with someone, if I were the person, the exercise physiologist or the nutritional expert or personal trainer meeting with this individual, I would sit down and say, hey, I've taken a look at your meals that you ate across a week. I've calculated out an average of what you're eating. It is in a surplus of what you need. And here's what I've done to create a deficit. And by the way, if you could just start walking 4,000 to 5,000, just 4,000 to 5,000 steps more than you're already walking, and that can come across in a couple 10 or 15-minute walks just during your day, will create a deficit by lowering your calories a little bit and by increasing your activity. And that, synergistically, those two working together, create enough of a deficit where in a couple weeks you'll start noticing a few pounds coming off. So be thinking about this. As you approach someone at work, as a leader, maybe even just a colleague and coworker, and maybe even coaching or mentoring someone, instead of when they ask for advice, or I'd like your take on this, or I'd like you to look at what I'm doing and give me some advice, take in the observation, look at what they're doing, of course, but then ask permission, or ask if it's okay to maybe ask you a few questions, or to, if you'd be willing to try some things out. Get that permission. And again, it's just a softener. It's just a way to say, hey, would you be willing to answer a few questions? Would it be okay if you tracked your meals for a week? Would you be willing to do that? Those questions pave the way for me to come in with some more structured feedback, some more meaningful advice down the road. And then again, when you give the feedback, ask that person. So if we create a little bit of a deficit in your food here, and increase your walking a little bit, is that something you think you can do? Yeah, that's not much of a deficit. I think I can do that. That's not too far off of what I've been doing. Absolutely. And how about those 4,000 or 5,000 extra steps a day? I don't think a couple 10 or 15-minute walks a couple times a day is going to be too much for me to commit to and get myself to do. Great. Would you be willing to start right now? And the next meal, make the changes, and the rest of the day, try to get in a couple 10-minute walks? Absolutely, I think I can do that. Now I've given them something that is tailored to their needs and wants. It's going to start, doesn't have to complete it, but it has to start getting them in the direction of getting the ultimate, the complete results that they want. And in the way we've done it, they're buying in, and they're willing to become part of this and engage in this because it is doable. And we start building the traction here of them being compliant and taking our advice and seeing that it's working. By the way, most important part about giving feedback is that person across from you has to be able to go and do something and net a result, get a gain. Keep that in mind the next time someone says, hey, can I get your advice, or would you give me your 2 cents, or a penny for your thought on this? Or I'd like you to look at what I'm doing and tell me what I'm doing right, or tell me what I'm doing wrong. Could you give me some help? Be thinking about how to give feedback that is straightforward and direct, yet of utility and value to that person. Folks, take care of yourself so that you can take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next video.